to all our viewers. We welcome you to another. We're glad that you could make it to join us today on the episode. We'll be looking at quite an interesting topic. But before we go into our discourse for today, my name is Janet Michael, the Director for Media and Information, Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. And I have here with me Ambassador Joshua Tahule. Ambassador, you're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, Janet. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua. So we will be having others join us as we discuss this topic. We have Mrs. Esther from the United for Peace Initiative, and also someone else will be joining us so we can have a robust discussion on the topic, the planned August mass protest. It is no longer news that there is a nationwide protest scheduled for 1st of August, which is in few days' time. So we'll be looking at the challenges and effects on national peace. So to our viewers, we would love to hear from you. We would love to have you in this conversation. So do well to join us and let us know what you think about this topic on the planned August mass protest, the demands, the challenges, and also the effects on national peace. So Ambassador Joshua, once again, thank you for joining us on today's episode.
It's a pleasure, Janet. Welcome. Thank you.
All right, so before we go in depth into our discussion for today, we would just love to have, a background of what exactly a protest is. We'll also be looking at is protest lawful, talking about what the Constitution says about protest, especially in our nation, Nigeria, because this is the focus we are having for today's topic. So we would love to hear from you, just briefly what you think about the protest, what is a protest all about, and what it entails.
Well, Janet, thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in this discussion. It is a discussion that worries every heart that has concern for the country and for the nation. For us, as that have come a long way in this country, and we have witnessed past protests or movement like this, it's call for serious sober reflection and concerns. But protest is a legal instrument that the people and the people generally, or an individual, used to convey is a rejection or grievances or perspective on certain matters that they don't want. And it comes in different dimensions. Do you understand? Come as a strikes, come as a sometimes mass protests like the one we are talking about here today. And then people go on strike, sit-ins. Do you understand? Like something that we used to see in the southeast, they say sit at home. It's also one way of protest. Do you understand? So people protest in different dimensions. Depends on what they want to convey and the message they want to convey. Do you understand? And so protest is a legal instrument that people use to say no to certain things that they don't want, or they want to see a change in a particular policy or program or government that they are not interested, or it's not impacting them well. And so they initiate a protest to see that they can express their rejection very well. And it's one of the tenets of democracy. It's one of the tenets of democracy because it facilitates the democratic principles that says there's a freedom of expression. Do you understand? Freedom of association, freedom of assembly. So as a result of that, and even the Nigerian Constitution, if you look at chapter 4, section 40, has given Nigerians the authority to gather, to assemble, to associate. So by the virtue of that provisions, they have the authority, the general masses have the authority to go out, assemble, gather, express their feeling, rejections, and how they are feeling. So it's not something that is outside of the constitutions. It's just that whatever freedom you have also have some level of limitations here and there. There are certain restrictions that you have to, because as you are going out to protest, nobody is going to stop you from protesting, which is your fundamental human right. That's fine. But at the same time, you have also the responsibility and the obligation to maintain law and orderliness in your protest. So that's another responsibility. So, but from history, it has not been so smooth. Protest in our country has not been smooth as experience in other environments. So when we say we are going to have a protest, then it calls for concern because people are worried because we have witnessed violent protests and that resulted in the death of people, sometimes armed militias, property vandalism, destructions, and all of that. So we have seen a lot of things that happen in the past. So whenever there's an issue like this, it calls for concern. And I think that's why people are making so much effort to make sure that the protests do not take place. But by and large, in a summary form, those that want to protest, they have the right to protest. But the question now we are asking is, can it be without violence based on the past history? These are the issues that we are here to look at. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, for that. A lot of people do not know that protest is actually constitutional. Just like you said, it's a public demonstration of objection, disapproval. It's a way of the people, for the people to air their views concerning certain matters that has to do with the government or the way the country or the particular region is being governed. So a lot of people, when they hear protest, they feel, oh, it's not constitutional. You're going against your the government, you're going against your leaders and the likes of them. So it's actually necessary that people get to understand that protest is actually constitutional. You made mention of the rights for peaceful assembly and association in Chapter 4, Section 30 of the Constitution. So as we proceed, we will be looking at what the August 1st protest is all about. It's all over social media. It is no longer news. The youth, the young people, in fact, almost everybody everybody feels like there should actually be a protest, but there are no enough people who are in support of that protest. But majorly, we see the young people clamoring for the protest, and we've seen hashtags on social media, the End Bad Governance. We have seen several of them, Days of Rage, Take It Back, so, but what can you say is, in totality, is the main focus of the August 1st protest? We know that, the protest that happened years back, the NSAS protest, it was, they had so many issues, and we knew the central focus of that protest. So what about this August 1st protest? What do you think is the central issue here?
All right, Janet, thank you very much. The organizers of the protests, which we don't know who they are, but we believe that they have a message. And the message is very simple: bad governance. And bad governance is not just a problem in Nigeria. Bad governance is a problem in the whole of Africa. Okay, we have just some few African countries that have been doing well to see that their countries are moving forward. If you look at the likes of Kenya, you can see the kind of protests that's going in Kenya. It's one example of bad governance that we are talking about here. Right? When people's opinion, when the electorate, then the people that voted you into power cannot be heard. When a government is refusing to have a listening ear, then that is where a problem is. One of the bad elements of governance, where leadership refuse to listen to the followers. Do you understand? So, but you want the followers to listen to you, but you don't want to listen to the yearnings of the followers. So it's an element of bad governance. Do you understand? So bad governance has been our problem, and bad governance comes in different dimensions: economic policies, corruption, brutality from the instrumentality of government, and so many other abuses of government authorities and offices and all of that. So it has been part of what we have been agitating for, both those that go on the street to protest and those that stay in their offices. But I don't know whether this protest will happen, but if it happens, then I will not. I wouldn't want to call it karma, because it's part of our lives that at some point people have to struggle for something, agitate for something, protest for something. based on the fact that it's not going the way they expected. Because if you look at it very critically, those that are in government today were on the street sometimes in the past protesting. So does it mean that they're just harvesting what they sow, or they're reaping what they sow? Is that what it means? So that's not actually what it means, because at the time when you look at when they were protesting compared to what it is today, you will discover that those days it was even better, far better off than what it is today, and they were on the street protesting. And then the very things that they were against of are the very things that we are experiencing in their own administration. So what do we protest? And what's the essence of the protest in the first place? If you were once protesting against bad governance, and now you have the opportunity to be in government, and the same bad governance continues, then what's the essence of the protest in the first place? So now, does it mean that people are organizing for protest simply because they have hidden interests that we are not aware of? They just want the government to change and favor them. That's why they are organizing the protest, or they are genuinely concerned about the state of the nation that they are organizing this protest. Because the truth of the matter is that there are issues that needs to be addressed in the country, economic issues, and the standard of living of the people in this country, the political system, and also needs some kind of reform. The judicial system needs kind of reforms. You understand? So all of this institution needs one way of reform of the order. Now, are these genuine concerns, or do we have people from the background who don't want to show their faces, but are just trying to influence a protest so that there can be a change or there can be a disruption in governance, and then make it appear as if this government cannot do anything, and then at the end of the day crave for change, and then at the end of the day create a change, and then the change will come and still suffering continues, because we were craving for change when we're actually living a comfortable life, I must say. Do you understand? It's as if we're living a comfortable life, but we wanted change, and the change happened to us. And I can tell you that for the past 9 years of the change, everybody is feeling the change. I don't know if we can reverse time. Maybe people would have said, let's go back to those old days. You understand? Let us return back to the old days. You understand? But that has gone. So we are dealing with the reality now. So let's face the reality and manage and deal with it. So I think the whole essence of this protest is about bad governance. Do you understand? So bad governance is the issue here. And so we begin to look at different factors that, bring about bad governance. So when we go into several form of discussion, I will begin to look at some of those things that the protesters are going to look into, or are going to demand for from the government. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua. You've actually spoken a lot on this. The end bad governance, just like you said, it is not only in this nation. We have seen bad governance across African nations and across the nations of the world. We have had issues like that. But the issue with our country, it's actually one that it's actually quite alarming. Just like you said, for the past 9 years, we knew how things were beforehand, and considering the present situation where people are finding it difficult to survive on a daily basis, there's anger among the people, especially the younger generation. So you also spoke about, getting to know those who are spearheading this movement, the movement for the protest, and it is no news that the government is also interested to know who are the sponsors, who are the individuals, the need names behind those, who are pushing forward the protest. A lot of people have come out to say, oh, it is over 200 million people. It is a national situation. There's no need, for people to give out names on those who are spearheading the movement. What do you think about this? Do you think it is necessary for us to know the sponsors or those who are spearheading this protest, or we should just move on to like, okay, it is everybody, that level of vagueness? What do you think about this?
Janet, thank you so much. You see, we are in a country where there are complex issues to address. Do you understand? And so, in order to avoid victimization, uh, it's better to remain behind and influence whatever you can influence, so that no one can come out and say that it's not an act of it's not an act of you know, shying away from your responsibility as a citizen of this country to come out boldly and say, yes, I am part of those that are organizing this thing. But the problem is that we are living in an environment whereby we do victimize people. They are doing something not because they target you as an individual or they want to destroy your administration, but the administration may end up pushing certain individuals simply because they feel that they are out there to sabotage their governance effort. Do you understand? So, and I think that's the reason why those that are even behind the whole move are refusing to come out and say that, oh, we are the ones responsible. It's like they want to use the NSAS platform, that kind of pattern to pass on their message. Do you understand? During the NSAS protest, they refused to also identify themselves as the organizers. Nobody came out and said that, oh, we are the leaders. Even government was calling for a dialogue. They say no, it's just the people that are affected, the people that have been suffering. There were police SARS brutalities and all of that. They are the ones that are protesting. And actually, those that were not also victims directly were on the street. Do you understand? Because it was a concern. If you refuse to come out today, tomorrow it will be you. So, but this case now, I don't know whether someone is not. Everybody is affected. Do you understand? Except those that maybe are in the government in one way or the other, that are seeing free money, that may not be complaining. But the market where we buy, and I believe they are also buying, is the same market. The only thing is that the earnings differs. So maybe their own earning is different. That is why they are still not too bothered about the situation of things, because their earning differs. But those that are not earning well and which are in the majority, I think they will find this protest a good avenue to express their feelings. And because some of them may not even have the opportunity to come and sit on a line, on a platform like this, and be communicating to the people to listen to what they have to say. So the only way they can express their feelings and their concern is when they go on the street and march. Do you understand? And then their voices may be heard, maybe. So, but the reason why I believe those that are behind this whole thing don't want to show face is because they don't want to be victimized, because it may be turned into a different thing. If it's a Christian, they may say, oh, it's because it's a Muslim government. That is why the Christian want to destroy it. If it's an Igbo man, they will say, it's because it's a Yoruba man that is in government. That's why Igbo man want to destroy it. And if it is a Hausa man, they will say, oh, when Buhari was there, nobody disturbed you people. Now it's time and the Yorubas, you want to disrupt. Do you understand? So this kind of situation and stereotyping and then accusation, they begin to arise, and it may cause more problems to the government and even the society at large. So I think it's better if they can be able to communicate themselves and understand the message and the direction of things where they want the protest to flow, just like the NSAS were doing, but they were able to coordinate certain things to certain level before the unfortunate incident began to happen. I think it's better to stay that way than to show face, and then at the end of the day, being SS following you up, military, police, everybody following you up to say that, okay, you are the one that is causing confusion and disturbances, and you don't want us to have a free, smooth administration and all of that. So to avoid all of that, and certain other accusations that may arise as a result of this protest, is better they should remain where they are. We don't want to know their faces. Even there's no need. The government will also want to know their faces. Must you know the faces of those that are having concern before you know that there's a problem? The problem is that the environment itself shows that there's a problem. The economy is reflecting the problem. Do you understand? So you don't need to look anybody into the first and know that this is the person that's responsible before you know that, okay, there's a message. Just before, focus on the message. What these people are demanding for, does it make sense? Is it something we should look into? If they say we want fuel reduction, okay, from 600 or from 700 to 100, does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense because it was less than that before APC took over. So, or it was something less than that, or something close to that, or something just above that. Do you understand? So, you are taking it too far, return it. Do you understand? So, it's something to consider. Because the whole removal of the subsidy was removed without any form of plan. They just announced it, and then without any form of mitigation put in place to see mechanism put in place to mitigate the impact of the removal of the subsidy. Nothing. They just announced it and then started that kind of operation. So it had landed so many people into so many troubles. And I think these grievances and so many other activities that are making people to come out and say there's a need for us to have a platform where we can express ourselves and the way we feel. And I think that's the reason why this protest is coming up. But the reason why the organizers or those that are the brain behind the whole stuff don't want to come out is simply because they feel that at the end of the day they will be victimized, despite the fact that they are not particularly against anybody, they are just against the bad governance. But at the end of the day, they may become a target because they will feel as if the people in government may feel as if it's because they are not the ones in government. They want to frustrate them, they want to embarrass them, disturb their governance and all of that. So I think this is one of the reasons why they don't want to show face.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua. So once again, to our viewers, we are glad you could join us. We would love to know what you think about this conversation. So we are discussing the planned August mass protest. We are talking about the demands, the challenges, and also the effects on national peace. So once again, thank you, Ambassador Joshua. As we proceed, we will be looking at, we have looked at what a protest is, the constitutional backing on the protest, and also what the August 1st protest is all about. We'll be moving forward to look at the demands of the protesters. So right away, we'll be looking at this. So the protesters have come up to say they have several demands, and they have done well to itemize these demands. As you can see, we are currently projecting this to our viewers, and I hope everyone can see the screen. So the hashtag 2024 August 1st. Protest, it says, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily until our demands are met. The hashtag is End Bad Governance, and it's covering all the 36 states, including the FCT. It also says that during this protest, if one protester is killed, named, or arrested, we will not back down until Tinubu and his entire cabinet steps down. So just a run through of an extract from their demands. Their desire to revert petrol pump price to 100 naira per litre, to combat insecurity and hunger, close all IDP camps and resettle the campus. The third is total electoral reform and an independent probe into the electoral budget of 355 billion naira. The fourth is the immediate release of all the NSAS protesters still in detention. The fifth here is the implementation of a living wage, which is the minimum of 300,000 naira. The sixth is compulsory free education from primary to secondary school and education grant at tertiary levels. For number 7, we have children of all public office holders must attend public schools in the country. The 8th, we have government must patronize made in Nigeria goods. The 9th, transition to a unicameral legislature. And then the 10th, which is the last, is the judicial and constitutional reforms. So Ambassador Joshua, this is just a run through of the demands of the protestants. So how do you react to these demands, and what are your thoughts towards it?
Janet, thank you very much. The demands are they are quite in place. They are not outside what is expected that everyone should see. And I can say that the demands are achievable. It's possible. It's something that can be achieved. But at the same time, maybe they may not be achieved at once as may be expected. But if there's a kind of a plan in place, all of these things are achievable. It's not something that is not obtainable somewhere. It's obtainable in other countries, even in some other African countries here. Some of these things are being enjoyed. Why is it that we cannot enjoy it? We have certain resources that we should be enjoying ourselves here. We shouldn't be suffering, if not mismanagement and all other stuff like that. And then the inability to also cherish what we have, do you understand, is also another problem. So, and then also inability to improve our own to be better is also some of the challenges we are having. But I can tell you that the demands are right in place. They are quite relevant to the suffering and the expectations of the general public, population in Nigeria. The people have endured some certain things for a while, and they say that even a goat, if you continue to just handle a goat to a point, it will bite you. But ordinary goat doesn't bite, right? So Nigerians have been patient, and they are the most happiest people in the world. I can tell you, if other countries can go through what Nigeria does go through, you see there was so much depression and so much killing and so much activities going on. But Nigeria has been, tolerating their leaders and the governance and several administrations that have governed us in this country. They have tolerated them. They have considered them. They will come and say, "Give us opportunity. 1 year is not enough to do something. Oh, 2 years will come and go. 3 years gone. Full term gone. Another term. 8 years gone. No change." Do you understand? And then, so it's as if Nigerian felt that our leaders have been manipulating us. They have been playing over our intelligence. So now it's time for us to show them that, oh, we are not fools. We know what we are doing and all of that. So they want to bring back the template they use in the NSAS protest. And one of the caution they say there is that if at any point in time of this protest, a protester died or was killed or is killed, or a protester is maimed or arrested, they are not going to back down until the current administration and its cabinet step down. So you see, this caution is very, very important because we have experienced protests in the past whereby people are on the street protesting. Another group will come from nowhere. We thought they are also suffering, but they will come and be protesting against the protesters. Now, as we are discussing now, as this protest is being planned, there are some groups that are not supporting this protest already. Do you understand? So is there any tendency that this kind of groups or those groups that are not supporting the protest will come against the protesters? Will they be mobilized to come against the protesters? And if they come against the protesters, what will happen? Someone will die, someone will be injured, some people will be arrested. So if that happens, what happens? Do you understand? So the people that are protesting have a responsibility. The government also have a responsibility to make sure that nobody dies and also nobody is arrested. The protesters must also make sure that there is no destruction of property. They conduct themselves orderly. And I think that's why they're saying there should be no smoke and no drinking on camp on their protesting ground or wherever they're going to stand to protest. There should be no drinking, no smoking there. Do you understand? Because this is also one way to checkmate the excesses of the protesters. So, but based on these demands that we have seen here, they are relevant. When we talk about fuel reduction in the price of the PMS, then it's also correct, because if you are buying fuel 600 and something thousand, 600, so 600 and something naira for 1 liter, and your minimum wage is 30,000. How many liters can you buy in a month? How many liters do you use in a week? Do you understand? So it's a challenge. So even if you say you use public transport to come to your office, how much the transportation has tripled? Do you understand? From what it was, and salary has not been increasing anywhere, and ways of generating income has not improved in anywhere. So it's a challenge. So they need to reconsider the fact that yes, if they say that, oh, the importation of fuel is the landing cost of fuel is high and all of that, what stop them from making the refineries in Nigeria to work so that the petrol here can be processed here? The crude oil that they used to export, process, and then import back to Nigeria. Why don't we process our crude in our Nigeria? We have 4 refineries. Do you understand? Why is that they are not working? Do you understand? So if you are giving us the excuses that, oh, it's because the landing cost of fuel and all of that is the reason why fuel has been so expensive and all of that, because the subsidy has been removed and all of that, that's the reason why it's so expensive, then who will say that you are joking? Simply because the first thing you should have done before removing the subsidy was to make sure that the refineries are in the position of functioning, so that you can, even if there's any need for you to import fuel, at least you have some refineries in your country that are working, that can support the importation. Do you understand? But there was nothing put on ground. They just went ahead straight and removed subsidy without minding the suffering and the consequences of the people. So if the people are asking for the reversal of the price of the fuel, I think they are not going outside the box, because it's deeply on the people. The people are facing it. So if you take that kind of demand, I think it's not out of place. So the protesters are making sense. And maybe as we pick some of them to discuss in details how it affects people and all of that, then you see uh, other, maybe I'll be able to say other things, but maybe we have other people that also want to say something concerning this matter. So let me just stop here for now.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, for that thought concerning the demands of the protesters in the forthcoming August protests. So to our viewers, we have Ambassador Esther with us from the United for Peace Initiative organization. Ambassador Esther, if you can hear me, you're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much for granting me access to the program. United Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. Good evening, everyone who has share my perspectives regards to the forthcoming nationwide protests across Nigerian states. Okay, I would just say that peaceful protest is a fundamental human right, and there is a constitutional provision for that in Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution, freedom of peaceful assembly and peaceful protest. But at the same time, there is a limitation to that. The limitation to that is non-deployment of violence to the peaceful protest. So I'll just say that Nigeria is a democratic country, guarantees such, and I know that in times of protest mobilization or protest movement, there are usually challenges or limitations to that. We've seen cases of protest arrangements whereby
Okay, unfortunately, it seems Ambassador Esther is having a little glitch in network. So as we proceed, Ambassador Joshua, likely she will join us soon. So we are looking at the demands of the protestants. A lot of people have come out to say, oh, these demands are actually quite unrealistic. Why other groups have come out to say the demands can be met. But there are situations whereby, or presently, we are not seeing any efforts by the government to actually meet these demands. So we are currently not seeing any efforts by the government to meet these demands. And we would love to know, because while you were speaking, you said that the demands are actually quite realistic and they are actually achievable. So we would love to hear from you. Do you think that this is something the government can begin to work on? Ambassador Esther, are you with us? Okay, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Okay, Ambassador Joshua, please go ahead and react to this. What do you think the government should do concerning these demands?
All right, like I said, Janet, thank you so much. Like I said, the demands are quite realistic if there is a political will on the part of the government. The problem we have always in our country is the commitment, all right, the political will to implement certain policies of government. You understand? Um, the people in government always consider their welfare better than and put priority on their welfare more than the welfare of the others. That is just the challenge. If it's their own who are in government, it's always quick. If the National Assembly want to buy cars for their members who are in the National Assembly, it's always very fast. If the executives want to buy cars for their officials, it's always fast. Do you understand? But when it comes to increase salary for the welfare of the other people, of the other citizens who are maybe working class, then civil servant, then it becomes a problem. Do you understand? It becomes a problem. Now, we have been talking about somebody, one of the House of Rep member was mentioning how much he earns in a month. Do you understand? They pay them rent allowance in a month, every month. Do you understand? In millions, which is a privilege a civil servant cannot have in this country. And then we are talking about 300,000 as a living wage. Do you understand? Is that too much for a country whose budget for 1 year is over 5 trillion naira? Is it too much? And then I'm asking, the question is, why are we budgeting over 1 trillion on for the Ministry of what do you call it, defense? You are budgeting over 1 trillion for the Ministry of Defense to do what with it? To go and buy arms, to come and kill who? People who you refuse to educate, people who you refuse to empower, people who you refuse to feed. Do you understand? So that is where you don't create a problem, then you go and buy guns to come and address the problem. The problem is that you have to sit and look at the problem you have created and solve it in a way that is better. So the money they are budgeting on the Ministry of Defense is too much. And that's one of the elements to show you that there's no peace in this country. Do you understand? There's crisis, there is problem. When you see that kind of budget for the Ministry of Defense, it shows you clearly that this nation is not a peaceful country. That's what is in the eyes of the international community. The budget for the Ministry of Defense is a clear indication that there's no peace in this nation, because that ministry takes the highest budget, compares to education, compares to health, compares to agriculture, compares to transportation, compares to any form of, I don't know. So you are there to also witness it, to see it yourself that what I'm saying is true. Do you understand? So on education, when we say public servant office holders should not have their children school outside Nigeria, yes, it's possible, simply because by so doing, our public institutions or our universities here can be strengthened. Do you understand? The universities are not being strengthened because if the people that are way to do can send their children abroad and all of that. But you know, a child has the right to decide what he wants at some point. He decides to school here or school wherever he wants to school if the father has the means. The challenge is that once your father becomes a public office holder, there's a limitation on you. That's what the protester seems to be saying, that once your father, you have, as a child, you have the right for education, you have that right, okay, and you can have it anywhere you want it. But so far as your father is in government or your relation is in government, then you have a limitation. You cannot enjoy education outside the country. But many of our public office holders, their children are outside the country schooling, and then they don't give attention to educational system in the country. So what do you expect? So the education system is decaying in the country. Do you understand? They are graduates that finish here, they don't have jobs. But those that school outside, they come here and then they get jobs straight. Do you understand? So what is happening? So when we don't cherish our own, when we don't value what we have, when we don't also pay attention to improve what we have, then how can it be better? How can it be compared with any? Do you understand? So that's the problem that we're having. So if the protesters are saying that public office holders should not send their children abroad for education, then they are not out of place, because but if the public office holders put their children in the public schools in Nigeria here, then they will make policies that will improve the education system in our country and make it functional and make it productive. Do you understand? So that's what I'm talking about. Then we'll talk about living wages of 300,000. So if a House of Rep member who is also just one among, that is the first among equals, that is, he is also a citizen of this country. It's just that based on social contract, the people have just agreed and elected you to represent them there. And then you have for yourself per annum, you are earning over 200 million naira. Do you understand? Why a civil servant who has been a public office holder working for the country, making sure that it's work for how many years? Some of them for their 35 good years or 38 years or whatever. I don't know how many years they serve in the public service, but I think 35 years in public service, they cannot boast of 200 million. But in 1 year, one person is earning over 200 million. That is the one we know. That's the one they tell us to know. We don't know the other ones that we don't know, because for so far as we are concerned, they say there's corruption in our nation. So the ones we don't know, we don't know. But the ones we know, or the ones the guy mentioned at the National Assembly complex that we heard, that we have seen, we have watched, do you understand, is over 200 million per annum. Do you understand? A civil servant who work to the point of a director, if we put his salary in all these years together, it's not up to 200 million. Some of them have retired so wretched in their own, they are just hopeless there. Nothing to do, there's nothing to fall back on, because as a civil servant, they say you cannot do business, you cannot do anything. You understand? So some don't even have a farm. The farm that they can even do, some of them don't even have the land to plant any farm or do any business, or don't even know how to go and do agricultural or poultry or animal husbandry or fishing and all of that. They don't have the skills, so they retire and then they are there like challenges that we're talking about here. So, but the truth of the matter is that if one House of Reps member, I'm not talking about Senator, House of Reps member can earns over 200 million in a year, then I think we have so much money. So if we can reduce that amount, let's say they are earning up to 50 million, then the cost of living in Abuja will also reduce. Yeah. And then that will also save like over 150 million to attend to other hundred and millions of Nigerians that are in poverty and are living below the poverty line. Do you understand? So we need to work on some of these things. We need to work on some of these things so we can reduce. We are not saying that they should not earn what is due for them, but their earning is above the average, it's above expectation. Do you understand? Their earnings should be reduced so that other costs can be accommodated, because the recurring expenditure is too much, and so it's not helping productivity in the system. Yes, their welfare is our concern. They should live ways. They are senators, they are our leaders. They should not be looking like prepared, but at the same time, they are earning more than what is expected that they should earn. When we compare the earning of a Nigerian senator with other senators in other countries, you discover that we are earning so much. You understand? So
Yeah.
we should
All right, thank you, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, for that. Ambassador Esther, you're welcome back, the founder for the United for Peace initiative. So we are talking about, we are discussing the August protests. We are talking about the demands, the challenges, and also the effect on national peace. We would love to have you, shed more light and let us know your view or hear from you what are your thoughts concerning the planned nationwide protests.
Okay, I would just say that thank you for the opportunity to be granted access to the program. I'm just here to make some kind of list some challenges that are likely to be faced in protest and also some recommendations on how best to go regards to the protest movement. I would say that most times in protest movement that the government usually places restrictions like curfews or bans on public gatherings. And this is like a fundamental, like an impingement on a fundamental human right. I'm talking about the challenges that protesters might face and why government should not go about it in that way regards to the protest. And police, on their own part, are usually using tear gas, using violent activities on peaceful protesters like tear gas, ammunition to scare away protesters. They do this as a justification to put security and safety in check, but not knowing that this also could cause casualties and infringes on human rights. And secondly, we talk about hijacking the protests. People go on to hijack protests. We saw the event of 2020 NSAS protest, whereby protest organizers had a sincere motive to effect change, mobilize Nigeria towards pressuring with the government to effect, like to meet up with economic and social reforms. And what did we get in return? Opportunities were like hijacking the whole thing, the whole protest. They made their way into bank firms and infrastructures to make away with valuable items. And we'll talk about there is this public perception about the protest. Like I'm talking about challenges faced by protesters. Public perception about protests, whereby some people oppose protest to be a way to mobilize for change and um, 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 development in the country, while some people, on the other hand, see it as a potentially destructive and disruptive thing, thereby instigating the mindset of these relevant authorities to attack the protesters. So I also go about talking about the best practices on how to go about the protest. This protest has been named a peaceful assembly. We know it's all about meeting for economic and social reforms. People are demanding for change from the government. And the best way they can go about it is more of like advanced notification to the relevant authorities, like collaborating with the police security officials. Those are people who are interested with the responsibility of preserving lives, public safety, and ensuring the enjoyment of human life. Once these people are informed beforehand, I think the necessary security measures can be put in place. Secondly, clearly setting their objectives. What is the purpose of the protest? What is the purpose of the protest? What is the protest trying to address? The objective, the expectations. This thing should be highly addressed. If the protest answers these questions, then the reason for the protest can easily be defeated and achieved. Thirdly, I can talk about non-violence. Since it's a peaceful protest, there should be much emphasis made on non-violence. This is a peaceful protest, and if violence is deployed, it's no longer a peaceful protest. And I think the protest has already been defeated, and it's like it's no longer the purpose of the protest. And the best thing they can do about this is to go about ensuring that marshals are trained, like to control overcrowding and disorderliness in the process of the protest. And lastly, I can say that there should be like collaboration between the relevant authorities and the protest organizers. We're talking about protests, and we know that in Nigeria is a democratic practice with regards to written, but in practice we used to see otherwise. So the best thing the protest organizers can do is to collaborate with these security officials with regards to the routes. What are the routes that are going to be allowed for protesters to use? The logistics and the timing. I have the police officials already threatening that once it's already 4 p.m. that the protest activities are to be suspended for the day. So these are the things we need to talk about. And the government on their own part should try to be responsive and attentive to the needs of the Nigeria. It's not enough to threaten Nigerians not to mobilize Nigerians for protest. The whole matter should be addressed comprehensively, and there are root factors to this complex issues causing for people to express dissatisfaction and resentment in regards to the present system. Ever since civil administration, we've always seen protest movement, and these things are always a call for social and economic reforms. So the government should look for a comprehensive way to address these situations, not threatening lives, not threatening protesters that they're going to weaponize security troops against the protesters. They're going to weaponize their machinery against the protesters. Why these issues have been calling for attention? The government should identify what are the needs, demands of these protesters. How can we look into it? How can we address it? We talk about lack of economic opportunities, and thereby there is inflation in price items. Like, people don't even have the basic employment opportunities to measure up to the hardship and economic realities of the country. So this is all about governance. Is more of like accountability. The ruled and the ruler sitting down to have a conversation. If we cannot converse with the government, those that are ruling us, what's the essence of governance? Governance should ensure and enable accountability. A source of accounts, like the rulers should give us accounts on how far they've been able to manage public offices. They are to serve us and not render a service to us as the ruled. So this is just it. That's what I think. These are my thoughts for the meantime, regards to the planned upcoming August protest.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Esther, for that beautiful contribution. You spoke about the likely challenges that might affect the protest in the long run. And I also love the fact that you spoke about safety and security, which is one major concern, especially to protestants. If you go down to the street and you ask people, oh, are you going to join the protest? They might say no because of the security challenge. We have learned from history. You made mention of the EndSARS protest, the 2020 October EndSARS protest, and how it later turned out the security issues and then the safety of the protestants were not actually guaranteed. So what can you say can be done to ensure that the protesters are safe, and also what are the ways that violence can be prevented, especially between the law enforcer and the protestant? How do we ensure that safety and security is being guaranteed?
Okay, I think I'm going to say there should be advanced awareness. Protest organizers to the security officials. Those people are the people that are entrusted with the responsibility of the enjoyment of human rights and protection of public safety and life. So I think when they are informed beforehand, they can ensure the security measures. Like, these are the people that it's their work. Like, they should not infringe on that responsibility or on the right of the protesters. And secondly, I should say protest objectives should be clearly stated. What are the this protest is becoming a controversial thing. Like, the reason for it is being misconceived, and when the reason for something is not known, abuse is inevitable. I think the protesters should go on the way they are creating awareness for this protest. They clearly set the objective this protest is going to address, the expectations, the goals. Let the public know that the protest is not to take a violent form, because most times the security officials see protesters as people who have come to cause a crackdown in safety, orderliness, then break down in law and order and regulations. So there should be awareness ahead of time that this protest is going to address issues like this. We are demanding for social and economic reforms. We're demanding for things like this, and so that there will not be misinterpretation on what the protest is going to address. I talked about collaboration between the protest organizers and the security officials. Regards to the police officials are threatening that once the protest exceeds by 4 p.m. every day, that they're going to intervene in the protest. And you know what that means? When the security officials intervene in the protest, the protesters will definitely want to resist them, and it could lead to violence. So I think collaboration between the protest organizers, the law enforcement agencies, then can go a long way in ensuring public safety and prevention of violence in the process of the protest.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Esther. You also spoke about the government's response. We've actually seen it's all over the place in the social media where governors of several states are coming out to say there shouldn't be a protest. It's more like a government are trying to put restrictions, trying to say, oh, there's no need for you to go out to protest, and they are demanding for more time. They feel, oh, on this present government have not actually lasted well in office for us to start seeing results, and the government should be doing, the people should give the government more time. And we can see issue of the government trying to, create potential obstacles that would make sure that the protest does not happen. So how do you react to this? What do you think? Do you think these protesters should give the government more time, or the protest is actually long overdue and people should go down to the streets and then voice out their displeasure?
Okay, I'll just say that most people that I've spoken with regards to this protest, when you interview them about the government pleading with them for more time and for them to exercise patience, they will say that the government is trying to use a damage control, because a lot of awareness has been created for regards to this protest, and people are not willing to exercise more. A lot of Nigerians are suffering. Even the basic things, people cannot afford the basic things. And in the system whereby there is injustice, there cannot be peace. It is only justice that can guarantee peace. People on their own part, they are ready to die because of, if there is no change seen, that's with people for you. But as a peace builder and conflict prevention advocate, all I can tell people is that they should go about the protest in a peaceful way, because it's not about calling up the protest. It's not about telling people that they should give them much time. The whole issue is a complex issue, and there should be a comprehensive solution and ensuring a sustainable solution to it. It's not enough to ask the people to give you more time. What are you doing to give people assurance and conviction that the time that are giving you is realistic, or is something they can hold on to? So I think the government should try to make improvement. Okay, they are demanding for much time. Let's see improvement before August 1st is still on Thursday. What have they done so far? What are the measures they have taken so far? They've been asking people that they should give them more time. Since this protest has been announced for over weeks now, they should keep up. They should come up with the solutions and measures to convince people and appease people, because people are really angry out there. Nigerians are suffering. The hardship is too much. It's unbearable. You cannot keep telling people that they should give you time, and the things that are still happening, things that have been happening since time immemorial, are still happening. So I think it's more of like making people to gain trust. Start out with what you promised. You say the government has not lasted for up to 2 years. Okay, with the years that you've ruled, what have you done so far? I think what I'm saying. What have you done so far? So it's not enough to ask people to exercise patience. Back it up with actions. Words are not enough, but actions are more convincing to the public. This is accountability, and we expect a lot from the government. We they are to render service to us and not to be service to us. They're in those public offices to serve us and not to disturb us for any reason. So that's just what I have to say. But at the same, I'll keep imploring the protesters that they should go about it in a peaceful way, non-violent means, because with violence, everything is already a mess. That's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Esther. Speaking about the likely challenges towards the planned protest. So, Ambassador Joshua, what can you say, and how would you react to these challenges? We spoke about safety and security, the government's response. We also have issues of logistics and coordination. Who are those responsible for coordinating this process, and also in terms of public support and internal unity. So, Ambassador Joshua, we would love to hear from you concerning the likely challenge for the planned protest.
Janet, thank you very much. The protesters know themselves, the people that are suffering know themselves, and there's a way they are communicating and they are understanding each other. So I believe that a system of coordination will be put in place to make sure that communication is being passed on. The problem here is, we have a government, government has always been deceptive in this country. We have not seen a true government that has taken over. They will tell us stories that mean different things. Do you understand? So it has not been enough for any government to say, give us more time, we'll do something. It's one way of just deceiving. Because if the government is very committed and dedicated and wants to do something and actually do a transformation or a change or respond to any demand of the populace, then the time they have been talking about the protest is enough for a proactive government to say, okay, because I don't want people to protest, for the meantime, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Do you understand? Just to make sure that, okay, I'm giving you my word, give me time, give me more time so that I can do. But for now, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do to show you that, yes, I am committed and I am ready and I'm responsible for making sure that your welfare and the welfare of every Nigerian is our concern. But we are not seeing that. The word we are hearing is like, give us more time. 1 year is not enough. You are not there to give us excuse. And in fact, you say in 100 days in office, you will do something magnificently. What have you done in the 100 days? You say, as soon as you enter, you say you start running the way he used it. Do you understand? You say the ball rolling. So it has been 1 year, the ball is still scoring. It's not rolling yet. So what do you expect? That people should give you more time to scroll? Do you understand? So it's not about giving you more time. It's about what have you been doing and what are you ready to do. Do you understand? So, and when you talk about the issue of protest turning into violence, there are the factors that can cause these things. Now one of the major factors that we see in our country here is infiltration of the protesters. That is when we have bad elements just come into the group to cause confusion, then there is going to be crisis. Do you understand? And then another reason that may result into protest turning into violence is when the instrumentality of government is becoming aggressive on the protesters. Do you understand? When people are arrested, people are maltreated, people are being killed, or live ammunition shot at people being tear gas unnecessary and all of that, those things can cause violence. Do you understand? Because these people believe that they have the right to protest, and so they should be given the opportunity to protest. Do you understand? So, but in a situation whereby you are not giving them the freedom to exercise their own constitutional right, then it becomes a problem. And but what we are saying in essence is that, in as much as we desire to protest, that's fine. You have your own constitutional right to protest, but the protest must be orderly, and that's where the concern always is. The orderliness is the problem, because people may come into the group with bad intentions. There are people that are still romancing with the government. There's people that are still, their own relations are there in the government. So they are not feeling what others may be feeling. So this kind of people are there romancing with the government. There's some people that are also getting little change from here and there, romancing with the government. So those people may feel somehow that, if this thing is not is going on, it will affect me. It will affect whatever I'm benefiting from the government. Do you understand? So they will be sympathizing with the government. We will have sympathizers that sympathize with the government despite their suffering. They are still sympathizing with governments. They're not looking at it that if things are done the way they are supposed to, then everybody will enjoy it. Do you understand? They just want to enjoy, let the others die. So, and so far as whatever opportunity they are having is being threatened, they can go out there, sympathize with government, and then cause confusion in the midst of protesters and make sure that everything is destabilized and everything is scattered. And that's where the problem is. Because by the time it gets to that point, then destruction of government properties, destruction of even private properties, destruction of lives, vandalism, and so many other things will happen. Do you understand? And that's where we are even concerned now as peace ambassadors, as a peace institution. This is our major concern. We are not concerned about people saying they want to protest. We are concerned about the end product of the protest, the outcome of the protest. If the protest turn into violence, what happens? You understand? You have the right to protest, that's fine. Government, you also have the right to protect the people. You understand? So now, if you have the right to protect the people who are on the street also are your people to protect. And that's why, if, in most cases, sometimes government will not want to release the security officers to go to the protesting ground to go and protect the people there. They just, because they want that place to be free so that those that are mobilizing against the protesters can come in easily and do whatever they want to do. Do you understand? And cause confusion. So, in situation whereby government is not willing to release the security agencies to go there and protect the protesters, then what do you expect? Anything can happen at any point in time. Do you understand? And when it happens, now the security government will not deploy the security and say that okay, your protest is turning into violence, so we will not allow that, we will not take that any longer. You understand? It becomes a problem. So these issues are the issues that we are concerned, because we have seen in the past whereby security agents come and misbehave, and then they question them and they denied. Do you understand? They denied. They said they were not there, we're not part of it, and so many other stuff and stories. So for me, those that are putting this thing together understand these consequences very well. They know the challenges very well. But should we shy away because of those challenges and keep quiet, and then the situation continues like this? That's another thing. You understand? So, in whichever way, all the people have a responsibility. The people who are protesting have a responsibility to make sure that it is orderly done. Two, government also have their own responsibility. They must be a listening government. They must not wait till the protest got into a point of violence before they will listen. They should listen on time and take action. And government should make sure that even though people are on the streets, they are the citizens of this country. And the responsibility of every government is to protect the life and property of each and every citizen. So even if that particular citizen is on the street at a particular time protesting against the very government that's supposed to protect them. Do you understand? The reason why they're on the streets is because you, the government, refuse to be responsible. And that's why they're on the streets. So what do? You go out there, send your security, go and protect them. Make sure that nobody shoot at them. Make sure that no infiltrator come into the group to infiltrate the group and destroy it. Make sure that everything is done peacefully. Do you understand? And then if that is being done, I think that is, but it's not just about the peacefulness of the protest that matters. It's the ability of the government to listen to the protesters. It can be a one-day protest and it will end if the government is a listening government, if the government is a proactive government. It's not the longevity of the protest that will produce results, okay? It's the ability and the willingness and the commitment of the government to react, to respond to the demands that will make sense. Do you understand? At the end of the day, if we continue to protest for 6 months, the government refuses to do anything or take action, what we will do, we'll continue to be on the street protesting. And this kind of frustration will turn into violence. Do you understand? Because they feel that, okay, since we are being so peaceful, so smooth, government is not responding. So let's be destructive, because that's the only language that government can hear. So I am saying that government should not wait to a point whereby it will become destructive before they will respond or deploy security, because that can lead into what we call war. Do you understand? It can lead into war. It can lead into civil war completely in the country. Do you understand? Because when you allow the situation to turn violent, you release security, it will come to a point that security cannot be able to control. Look at the NSAS. It got to a point where security were withdrawing. They could not control what was moving. Do you understand? The force that was coming was too powerful for any security man to come and stand. It doesn't matter the kind of ammunition you carry. Do you understand? So they should not allow it to get to that point. What I'm employing the government to do is that the government should be a listening government. The leadership should have a listening ear. And if, in fact, if I'm assuming I'm the one in that position now, sir, I would have put things in place. It doesn't matter how hard it is as a leader, and you can rally around other leaders and see that, okay, this is a point of concern. Let's do something. What can we do? Do you understand? And then emergency issue decisions will be taken to make sure that, okay, let's curtail this issue. Let's do this, and then give them hope. Do you understand? And see how we can address other matters later. So in this way, it will be able to solve the problem. So, but one of the major problems we have in this country is that we don't have a listening leadership. That's number one. Number two challenge is that we have a leadership that is very deceptive. Do you understand? They promise you something, but do another thing. That's another challenge. So when you have things like this, it becomes so difficult, because the government is not accountable. The government is not responsible, and it's not responsive Do you understand? So when things like this are in place, it makes it so frustrating, and that's why it will frustrate the protesters until they turn into violence. Then government use government instrumentality to suppress them, and then from that suppression to what? It leads to war. Do you understand? Civil war. That's what is going on in Kenya as we speak now. Do you understand? Because we started, okay, this bill should not pass into law. They force it into law, and people will be maltreated, manhandled, and then it's now going on and on and on and on. It's becoming something else. Do you understand? So this kind of issues can be controlled if we have a responsive leadership. So for us to wait till get to a point of violence before government will respond is wrong. Government should be able to, even now, government can do something to avert even the protests completely. You understand? Government can do that. So we need to do something like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua, for that beautiful contribution on the likely challenges of the August 1st protest. And Ambassador Esther, thank you also for your contribution.
Welcome.
Oh, apologies for that. So thank you, Ambassador Esther and Ambassador Joshua, for that beautiful contribution on the likely challenges for the planned August 1st protest. So we'll be looking at the effect on national peace, but before we proceed, let's see what our viewers are saying concerning this. So we have a comment here from Mr. Jeremiah Peters, and he says, the upcoming protest could threaten national peace by causing disruptions and potential violence. However, I believe it is vital to recognize that people have the right to voice their concerns and demand change. Balancing this right with maintaining stability is crucial for Nigerians' future. But can we really have a peaceful protest? So, Ambassador Joshua, how do you react to this?
Yeah, and that's the concern, and that is why we are here to look at it. The potentials of violence are there because going by history, it always end up into violence. Do you understand? No matter how peaceful it is, the NSAS was peaceful until it gets to a point whereby it became so destructive. Do you understand? It becomes so destructive. Government palliatives were stolen, people's properties and the private investment were destroyed, and so many other stuff were destroyed. It's always the challenge is there, the threat is there. And that's why it's called for concern, all right? But the fact is that things are not going the way it's expected. And the very government that is in power today were the very people that were on the street in those days when things were considered to be far, far better. And they were making promises during their own campaign. And now they find their way into the government and suddenly they forget about their promises. So you promise us heaven and earth, we are giving you the opportunity to govern us now. Even if you buy your ways into it, you made us to understand that we gave you the vote. So if truly we gave you the vote, then give us the governance that we need and want. The expectation, the promises that you promise, fulfill those promises. Do you understand? It's very important. It's very, very important. So, but suddenly we have reneged, the government is reneging on those promises they made during their campaign. Their manifestos and all of that has been abandoned. They forget it. They are pushing what no one knows. So in a situation like this, what do you expect? People must come out and say their own thing. And I can tell you that individuals have been coming on radio, televisions, on whatever platforms, on social media to criticize the government and say how bad things are. Government is strong-headed. It's not even looking at what people are saying. It's none of their concern. It's just too short now. Give us more period. 1 year, what can we do? 1 year. When you say in 100 days you can change something, when you say you start running, and then it's been 1 year you are running. Collective group of people to say, okay, things that are happening in this country, we are not comfortable with them. And we are coming out collectively as a people that are suffering to come and say our voice, to come and show our anger and our voices, or our demonstrate our own rejection or our dissent concerning your governance. Do you understand? So people, this protest is about it's not about this person, we don't like you or anything. It's about bad governance. And if governance has been really bad, do you understand? Then the government must do something. So it still behoves on the government to do something. You can stop this protest by just 2, 3, 4 decisions. Do you understand? Just commitment. All right. Yes, I learned that they say minimum wage 70,000. Okay, I'm a committed government. I don't want to see you people on the street. Yeah, the labor union agreed on 70,000. We settle on with the labor leaders on 70,000. You people are agitating for 300,000. Okay, but as part of as a government that is committed, I'm going to give you 100,000. So let's start with 100,000 and let's work and see how things will improve, and then we'll see if we can increase it. Do you understand? And then that's one of my commitments. Another commitment I'm going to do for you, I know that majority of us in Nigeria are using petrol. Do you understand? To move things, to do things, do even our businesses. We don't have light. Okay, small business are using petrol. People are using committing from one committee to another for our businesses and all of that, our offices. And so, for that reason, fuel is 600 and NNPC is selling at 617, while other petrol stations are selling as far as up to 700 naira per liter. So as part of my commitment and with also independent marketers, we agreed. So this is where you call other stakeholders to come in. Please, you other stakeholders come in, let's look at what we can do. Okay, let's first and foremost reduce this thing to, okay, let's say 300. The protesters are saying 100 naira per liter. Let's put it at 300. Do you understand? At least you have removed 200 and something or 300 and something. Do you understand? So these are commitment. You are making this, and then people feel that, okay, since government is responding to some of our demands, there's no need to go on the streets any longer. Let's give them a chance. I get a point now. But nothing like that is happening. You just say that you are just saying the period of 1 year is not enough, and that the past administration have destroyed. But the past other administration under PDP was far, far better than what was under Buhari APC, and the APC still continue. And then you are saying that the past administration, you are accusing your own party for being so bad. Is that what you are saying? That your own party destroyed the country and the economy? And so you want the people to just sympathize with you for your party being so destructive? Do you understand? So what they should be telling us is not the past administration have destroyed a lot of things and Tinubu has to build. That's not what we want to hear. What we want to hear now is, as a responsible government, this is what we're going to do. It's a very straightforward thing. It's very clear, specific. You know, when we are setting objectives, we set specific objectives so that we can, we can measure them and say, tell us in categorical terms that, okay, uh, wages, living wages, you are saying 300,000, I'm giving you 100,000. Please, Minister of Labor and Productivity and whatever, please, going forward, 100,000 minimum wage. I get a point now. That one is settled. Fuel reduced to 300 per liter is settled. It's very specific. There's no argument, no long discussion. Do you understand? Okay, if you cannot do it for independent marketers, do it for the one that has a name that consider. I know it has been privatized actually, NNPC or whatever. It has been privatized, but at the same time, government also have investment in it. Do you understand? So your own investment, let it be it that it has been reduced. Okay, if you cannot reduce it on other stations, let the mega stations reduce their own to 300. Do you understand? So that we know that, okay, let the independent marketers deal with the situation by themselves. So you can take proactive steps like this. And then we talk about other factors like public office holders should not have their children school abroad. Do you understand? And then maybe public office holders also are not going on medical trips in abroad. So all of these things are just executive. As a president, you just give an executive order that going forward, no public office holder should send a child abroad for education. No public office holder should go on medical tour in any country, anywhere in the world. Do you understand? If you're a public office holder, you have to attend to medical issues in Nigeria. You have to, your children have to attend their school here. You understand? All of these things can be. So if you can do order like that as a president, then people will begin to see that, okay, you are serious. But this is not argument. It's not argument. It's no exchange of argument that someone will say, and give us more time, more time to say what? You understand? So it's just like I'm saying, it's the commitment on the side of the government to forestall this protest. But if they refuse to do something, protest will go on. How long it will go on, I don't know. What will become of it and the outcome of it is only all of us are anticipating. What will become the outcome of the protest? Do you understand? We don't know how it's going to end. It will end peaceful. It can end in violence. It has been ending in violence ever since. So, but let's hope that this one will end in peace.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua, for that response. So before we proceed looking at the effects on national peace, we'll be taking one more. We'll be looking at the comment section, and I would love Ambassador Esther to respond to this. Mr. Moses Ali says, I am highly discouraged with the protest planning because it's not properly organized. For that, there is serious concern it might not go without violence. So, Ambassador Esther, we've seen people coming out to say they do not know the organizer of this protest, and there's no guarantee that the protest is actually under any form of coordination, and it might actually just be a repeat of history, the EndSARS protest. So what are your thoughts, or what's your reaction towards this, or towards this set of people who are afraid of the protests becoming violent in nature at the end of the day? Ambassador Esther, we cannot hear you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak again. Sorry for omitting my mic. I think people have not actually, in regards to this comment, people have not actually recovered from the casualties and fatalities that were experienced or witnessed in the events of the EndSARS protest of 2020, that people were kind of wanted to mobilize for a social change. At the end, it turned violent. You know, the lives were lost, properties were destroyed, human security and human rights were threatened. So this is more of like a reaction to those events. People are here to recover from it, and this protest is just coming up, and we know the kind of country that we are in. We know how Nigeria presents itself as a democratic country, but in practice, what are the realities of these are these democracies living out? Are these democratic rudiments? Are they finding expression in the Nigerian system? So this is not like Western countries where people can kind of come out and are protected by the constitutional provisions of right to peaceful assembly and protest. So this is like, I myself, I'm still recovering from that of 2020. So I think people are reacting in connection to the event of the EndSARS of 2020, whereby banks that were destroyed are yet to be repaired. Infrastructure that were destroyed are yet to be repaired. It led to a lot of disruptions, and economic activities, religious activities were affected, academic activities were suspended. So I would just say that my perceptions, I would just categorically say that this person is reacting. Many perceptions are in connection with the unrecovered events of the EndSARS 2020, and nobody knows what the federal government is planning. So that's just what I would say, because they've been threatening. A lot of threats have come, but the thing is, it's not enough to threaten the protesters. This is a constitutional right and entitlement. So that's just what I would say. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador Esther, for that reaction. Thank you, Mr. Moses Ali and Mr. Jeremiah Peters, for your contribution. So as we proceed, we'll be looking at the effects on national peace. What is the effect of this planned protest? What are the implications in terms of the positive effects and also the negative effects? You would agree with me that there are likely going to be some positive sides of the story, and if care is not taken, or if caution is not put in place, there might also likely be some negative effects of this protest on the nation, that's on national peace. So looking at these effects, we'll be looking at the positive side of things. We have situations whereby if this protest, well, likely it would, goes well, the people will feel empowered. It is a means whereby people will be empowered to feel like, oh, they also have a voice in the society, and people can stand up, to show their displeasure and say, oh, we are not okay with the way the governance is going. These are the leaders we elected. And it is actually okay for us to voice out to say we are not comfortable with this, we're not comfortable with these policies, and then the people should be listened to. As we know, we run a democratic system of government, the government for the people, by the people. So the people also have a voice in the government. So I would love to hear from Ambassador Joshua concerning what you think to be the positive side of things, and how positively can this protest affects national peace.
Janet, thank you very much. The peace of the nation is already threatened. The protest has not started, but there's tension in the polity already. Do you understand? It's very high. The polity is very, very tensious. Do you understand? There are people that have one or two things to do, but they are just thinking how it will look like. We have several activities that are upcoming as an organization, but we're just putting into perspective the protest. And so it's negatively impacting other smooth activities that have been going on already. But should we say that because things will be affected, the protest should not take place? Because the truth of the matter is that things are going so wrong, and that's the way people can express themselves. And then when we want to talk about the positive aspects of the protest, it's only something that we can anticipate. Do you understand? And we are anticipating based on certain conditions. If those conditions can go through, then it's possible that the outcome will come out so positive. Otherwise, at the end of the day, if it goes the way it used to go, then nothing will still come out of it. But during the EndSARS protest, what we saw and an achievement, it took government unaware. That the government of the time, it took them unaware. They never expected to see such kind of protests in the history of this country. Do you understand? Until it happened. So that protest, to a point, for the fact that it ended the way it ended, there was some achievement. all right, the police unit called SARS was disbanded. Do you understand? It was disbanded. It was one of the unit that was causing problem, so it was disbanded. So that was an achievement. Do you understand? It was an achievement, and the brutality that used to come from that unit has been reduced. So it was an achievement. Now we hope to see an achievement whereby there will be a reduction in the price of fuel. We also see to see where there will be an executive bill or a constitutional amendment that we, stop public office holders who are themselves to implement or even introduce and implement the law themselves, to introduce a law saying that public office holders should not go on medical trips abroad, should not send their children to public schools in other countries. So in situations like that, if you can see these things happening, and then electoral reforms, whereby, INEC will not come and tell us story after they will give us promises and come and tell us stories. This thing we say electronic voting, but it was not electronic voting totally. So we want to see a situation whereby it will be electronic voting completely from A to Z. Do you understand? So these are the changes that we're expecting to see. And then the positive things that we're expecting to see all of this, and then minimum or the living wage that we're talking about, we'll see something sufficient being, put in place to compensate the workers in this country. So these are some of the things that we are expecting to see that will be the positive outcome of this protest. And then at the end of it all, to crown it all, if there are no casualties, there are no destruction, there are no violence anywhere, then we can give it a thumbs up. But in situation whereby, based on history, now let me just talk based on history, because in conflict resolution, we deal with history. We deal with a contextual environment. Do you understand? Based on the context and based on the history, the same factors that play out that make protests to always end in violence are still playing out. Whenever the protesters want to protest, government will be threatening, just like Ambassador Esther is saying. There have been threats here and there, even from the security agencies, threatening that they are going to use whatever they have and they're supposed to make sure that the protest does not take place. So this kind of government talking tough, do you understand, are the factors that will cause conflict and cause violence. Do you understand? These are the factors that will influence the protest turning into violence. Then another factor is the inability of the government to listen. If it's a government that listens, I'm hammering on the issue of listening very well. If it's a government that listens to its people, then I am telling you that this protest will not take place in the first place. But government is becoming adamant. It doesn't want to listen. It's a recalcitrant. It don't want to listen to anybody. Do you understand? It's our time. So why do you want to disturb us? But you disturb other people. So why don't you want disturbances? During Jonathan administration, Tinubu was Soyinka, they were on the street protesting. Nobody stopped them. They protested as they like. They say whatever they wanted to say. They did as they like. Nobody stopped them. We expect to see same in this protest. If you once enjoy the freedom to protest freely, move on the street, they were aid us. We respected them, and we thought they were coming for good. Until now, that we are seeing something else. So, although he may have good intention, he came at a time where things are just not just working as expected. But what is their own commitment? That is the question we are asking. Their commitment should have shown to us that yes, they have something that they want to do for the nation. It doesn't matter how small it is, but they are remaining adamant and so recalcitrant. They don't want to, accept any form of criticism. They don't want to accept any form of antagonism. They want to accept any form of protest. So in situations like this, what do you expect? These are things that cause conflicts or violence when there's a protest, because government is already not cooperating. It's not willing to accept such kind of challenge. Do you understand? So in situations like this, it can cause violence. So these are factors that when when these things happen, then the peace of the nation is at the stake. Do you understand? Already is in fact, we have not even had one. We have not been having it all peaceful. Do you understand? So now this protest is even intensifying the already threatened peace, has intensified the situation. It has made the situation look more serious and dangerous. Do you understand? So the impact so far on the national peace is completely negative impact. Do you understand? That this protest, the plan, it has not even started yet. But I can tell you that the intensity and the atmosphere is telling us that it's not where, it's not all where. Do you understand? It's not where, and it can affect the already affected state of affairs of the nation in terms of peace, unity, and development. So it's going to affect so many things will be paralyzed. So many things will be paralyzed, and so many people will still end up suffering more. So these are the
Interesting.
issues.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua, for that concern. It's actually important to know that in as much as things can turn towards the positive side, where we can see the government meeting the demands and making sure that there are reforms, policy reforms, and then we progress as a nation. It's actually important to know that this can actually go the wrong side and also cause instability, social unrest, and also violence, including political instability and also social division at the end of the day. So, Ambassador Esther, we would love to hear from you concerning this. In what way do you think the protest can have an effect on national peace?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak again on the effects of the protest on national peace.
Ambassador Esther, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm hearing you. Hello? I can hear you. I said thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on the effect of the protest on national peace. I think most embassies in Nigeria already warning their.
Yes, please go ahead. We're with you.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on the effects of the protest on national peace. I think this can cause insecurity in general because most embassies in Nigeria already warning their citizens that are living in Nigeria not to take different routes, different states, they should avoid different states. And I know that this will go a long way in even suspending activities at embassies and thereby keeping Nigerians that want to travel stranded. It will affect intrastate, interstate, and international travels because people are afraid of their lives. They don't know what they're likely to meet on their way embarking on different travels. So most traveling activities will be suspended. So these things, the insecurity would lead to economic instability and disruption, even academic disruption. Most students will be returning home before the August 1st because they don't want to meet chaos and violence in any form. So this will lead to most people will leave their activities. They will suspend their involvement in different activities. So because when there is no security, people are afraid to go about their daily activities. It will cause a state of emergency. Banks will no longer operate and people will be stranded economically. So this thing as it's going to affect the national peace, it's going to also affect different factors in Nigeria because security is one thing that is very essential in everything we do. It will affect bank operations. It will affect academic activities. It will affect different traveling. It will affect Nigerians are going to be stranded. Most Nigerians that are already seeking for visa to locate. So these are the things it is going to affect a whole lot of things. Travels are going to be suspended because people don't want to meet their Waterloo, anything that threatens their life and security because of any form. Because you don't know the direction that this protest is taking. People are threatening. You don't know those that want to take advantage of this protest to cause havoc, to cause harm, to cause chaos and unrest. So that is just it. So the protest will cause a lot of damages, a lot of backwardness, a lot of retrogression. So the best thing the government can do is not about calling the project off, but looking for a comprehensive way to ensure a sustainable solution to the protest. Because even if the protest is called off now, there is still this high possibility that in the nearest future, things like this, people will still mobilize for protest movement. So if these economic reforms we are seeking for, political reforms, what are the economic reforms? We talk about economic progress. deflation in prices of things. People can live a sort of policy life. You know, the harsh economic realities in the country are too much. So these things need to be looked into. Political reforms. Can the political or institutions be an independent judiciary? Can the government, the sitting government, stop intervening in things like this? So the best thing the government can do is to address the whole situation from the root cause, ensuring a sustainable solution. So the protest will affect a whole lot of things. Economically, security-wise, human rights crackdown, everything will be affected because you cannot hold anybody responsible to have committed stuff, an action of violence because you don't know those that are doing it. The whole everywhere is scattered and disorganized, so the protest will affect a whole lot of activities. So the best thing the government can do is to stop threatening because the more they're threatening, the more they're intensifying tension, violence, and people are preparing for them in unpredictable ways. As the government is threatening, those that are mobilizing the protest, you don't know what they are planning as well. And maybe the government tries to resist, they will try to retaliate. And this is one of the ways that violence erupts in protest activities or situations. So the protest will affect a whole lot of things, interstate, intrastate, and international travel, because embassies will shut down temporarily, and one of the other Nigerians is stranded. So that's just what national peace is already at risk. So there's no point in it's already at risk. People are looking for a way to ensure that people are already calling their people their own to come back home, their worst to come back home because you don't know what you're going to meet on even at school. These people that want to hijack this protest, they're already making preparation. They're warming up. So a lot of public institutions will be attacked. Even universities, you will see people making their way or getting infiltrating into these buildings to cause a whole lot of havoc. Because in myself, the protest has affected me. The one of NSAS 2020 affected me. We were writing an exam, and these guys broke into our exam hall. Everybody had to leave what they were doing. I had to flee for their life. So this is one of the things that the protest could cause: insecurity and kind of human rights enjoyment. So that's just it. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Esther from the United for Peace Initiative. We thank you for your contribution. And thank you, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, for your contribution to this topic. So as we come to an end on today's episode, I would love to anchor on this comment by one of our viewers, Mrs. Amarachi Ikeke, and she says, dialogue is the best. And I think the government still have time. The August 1st protest is still a few days from now. So it is necessary that the government will sit down with the organizers of this protest so that dialogue will to engage in a dialogue to make sure that things, part of their demands are being met, and also that there will be no cause for people to go down to the street and protest. And just like you said, Ambassador Joshua, we need to have a listening government. The people do not need to be in the streets for the government to know that the people are serious concerning their demands. So there's still time, and now is the right time for a dialogue and for the government to engage the people to ensure that peace prevails in every situation. So as we come to an end on today's episode, Ambassador Joshua, the Registrar for the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management, we would love for you to give us a final words concerning the planned protest and what are the ways in which to ensure that regardless of the protest, peace still maintains its course, and also our environment doesn't, we don't end up in crisis and also in conflict. So we'd love to hear from you, Ambassador Joshua, as we wrap up on today's episode.
All right, Janet, thank you very much. You only dialogue with people you know. You cannot dialogue with people you don't know. You cannot dialogue with, if we have the organizer, that is where government can possibly come into dialogue with anybody. You understand? But now there are no organizers, so everybody is just angry. They want to go out into the street and protest. So how could government dialogue? Dialogue is good, but it's only when you know who to dialogue with that it becomes possible. But by and large,
okay, I believe for one, there are actually activists, who have come out to say, oh, they are fully in front of this protest. I think the government can start from there, and we also have, leaders of Days of Rage and also Take It Back organization. I think those are people who are coming out to say they can actually sponsor the protest. So I think if government can reach out to them, we can actually get to know, the main organizers of this protest or the leaders, and then we can see how we can take it off from there.
All right, if we have people that are already indicating that they are the organizers, why not government can call them for a dialogue to discuss and see how they can move to coordinate and see how things will be done. But by and large, my final word is the protesters, they have the fundamental, have the constitutional right to protest, but they have also fundamental and constitutional obligation also to fulfill to make sure that their protest is orderly done without any form of destruction or violence. And then on the side of government, you must be a listening government. That's what I'm saying. If we're not a listening government, protests can last for 100 days, for 1,000 days, but so far as government is not listening, it will continue. Until government listen and take actions to do according to the demands of the protesters, to meet the certain expectation of the protesters, that we can guarantee any positive result out of the protest. So if government can be proactive, I can tell you this protest will not last for 3 days and all the demands will be attended to as much as government can be able to attend to. I'm not saying that government should fulfill all of them. I'm saying that government should demonstrate commitment to fulfilling some of these demands. And then you will see this agitation will just die a natural death. Do you understand? If I'm in a position to do something, I'm telling you that this protest will not go ahead. There's emergency and proactive measures that you can take to forestall some of these kind of things from happening. So government is in a position to do it. They have the capacity to do it. The only thing they lack is the political will. So they should garner political will and do it, and then things will be done. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, our viewers. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Peace Clinic. We discussed the planned August mass protest, the demands, the challenges, and also the effect on national peace. And thank you, Ambassador Esther, the founder of the United for Peace initiative. We are glad we could have you join us and also share in your thoughts concerning this topic.
Thank you to your organization too for the opportunity to be granted access to the program.
You're welcome, ma'am. So to our viewers, once again, thank you for joining us. The Peace Clinic is brought to you by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. To know more about us, you can do well to visit our website on www.igpcm.com.ng, or you can contact us via email at igpcminfo@gmail.com, or call us on +234 703 345 8730 or +234 81 41 56 94 00. So you can do well to follow us on all our social media handles. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are also on LinkedIn as the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. You can also find us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on TikTok at IGPCM. So once again, thank you for joining us and do have a great day. See you also on the next episode of the Peace Clinic.